Good morning, YouTube. This is going to be a video of what I call my gut repair drink. And it is primarily composed of what you see on screen right now. Colostrum. Probably in order of importance would be colostrum, glutamine, or possibly glutamine colostrum, bone broth, and then the pine pollen is something that I ordered from Sir Thrival just to get me over the minimum order quantity so that I'd qualify for free shipping. And the minimum order quantity to qualify for free shipping on Sir Thrival is $350. So I think at the time the colostrum ran me about $298. The price appears to have dropped to $245 now. It is a lot of colostrum, but you know, as with most things, when you buy in bulk, you get it cheaper per ounce. And I didn't know how much of this stuff I was going to need to actually cure my condition. So as long as I could afford to, as long as I had the money to, I bought what I could and have just moved forward there. So I'm going to show you how to make this gut repair drink now. It's pretty easy. I'm finally getting it dialed down to just a handful of ingredients, and it does appear to work. So here I've got a pitcher of, it's not distilled water, but it's filtered, reverse osmosis. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons of colostrum, 3 tablespoons of glutamine, and 3 tablespoons of bone broth, and then 3 teaspoons of the pine pollen. The pine pollen was about $30 for this tiny little container, which is 48 grams. It's very, very expensive, and honestly I wouldn't have bought it if I wasn't just trying to get over the minimum order quantity to qualify for free shipping. I won't do it again though, it's just way too expensive. Anyway, so colostrum. 1, 2, 3 tablespoons glutamine. 1, 2, 3 tablespoons bone broth. 1, 2, 3 tablespoons. And this bone broth, by the way, even though they offer about 5 different types, this is what they call the pure, and it's just pure bone broth. It's not flavored. The flavored ones have a small amount of sugar in them, which of course, as you know, is bad for Candida. So I didn't do those. They also make a turmeric bone broth, which I'll probably try next time. There's no sugar in it, and of course the turmeric would be good for fighting Candida anyway. So the pine pollen, we've got 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, and at this rate I'm going to run out of this stuff pretty soon, but it's just as well. 3. Okay, so we've got all those powders there. I'm also going to add some beet powder because for whatever reason it seems to help in addition to what I've already put in here. I have found that if I just make, and I'm putting in 3 teaspoons of beet powder, I found that if I just drink the beet powder, I get that, you know, that stomach rumbling, that gut grumbling stuff if I just have the beet powder. Actually, the same thing if I just have the colostrum, glutamine, bone broth, and all that. I still get the gut rumbling, but for some reason when I put them together and then add fresh ginger to it, I don't get the intestinal noises and stuff. So let's go on over to where the blender is, and we'll get the ginger and the probiotics in there and blend it up. Forgive my my method of filmography here. I'm just doing what I can to make the video happen. Okay, so got a little bit of ginger here. I just have already peeled it and cut it up, and you know, I don't measure out a specific amount. That should be fairly tasty. I like to taste the ginger in there. If I can taste it, you know, if the taste is pronounced enough that I can taste it and I can definitely tell there's ginger in there, then I know it's working. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there. And then the probiotics that I'm using at the moment, even though I have used, you can see that, I have used Usana, and they do get really good reviews for effectiveness as compared to a lot of other probiotics. There is a prebiotic in here, and I believe it's inulin. Yes, it is mannitol and inulin. And, you know, they say it's a prebiotic. I really tend to stay away from prebiotics if I can, because I figure that anything that's sweet, you know, there's a chance that it's feeding Candida. They say that stevia doesn't feed Candida, but I just really don't know about that, and I'll tell you why. Because I think that things taste the way they do as the direct result of the molecular makeup of those compounds. So when sugar is sweet, it's sweet because it has a certain molecular compound, and I believe now we know that sugar feeds Candida, but there's a lot of other forms of sugar, including natural forms of sugar like fructose, that will also feed Candida, and so those things are all sweet as well, and stevia is sweet, and I tend to believe that the reason it's sweet is because of the molecular structure of the substance of the compound, and so my concern is that stevia also, maybe only to a small degree, feeds Candida, and I just am not willing to take that chance at this point. So the probiotic that I really like, and it's expensive, I'm not going to joke with you about that, is VSL3. As you can see, it's called a probiotic medical food, and it's literally classified by the FDA as a medical food. And the only thing in here is probiotics. It says right on the label, for the dietary management of irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis, and ileal pouch. So everything that I have researched and heard about and read about Candida and healing the gut has basically gone along these lines. They say, you know, take one of these every so many hours, or, you know, 2 a day or 3 a day or 6 a day or whatever, depending on the condition that you've been diagnosed with. So I'm going to tell you, I don't go to doctors anymore because they're always wrong. They always fail to accurately diagnose your condition. They always, when they do, they always call it something that only indicates what the symptoms are. For instance, irritable bowel syndrome. Whenever they use the word syndrome or disorder, it just means that they don't know what the root cause is. And irritable bowel is only describing your physical symptoms. It's just your bowels feel irritable. Okay, that doesn't do anything to get you any closer to discovering what, or being able to figure out what the root cause of your condition is. Now, if someone tells you that you have acidosis, now that gives you a clue as to what's wrong. Your pH is too low. You have an acidic pH. Okay, so that's the name of a condition that will actually, you know, help to some degree for you to understand what is the root cause of your condition. But these random names that the medical industry comes up with for conditions such as irritable bowel syndrome and bipolar disorder. They don't know what the root cause of that is. I mean, if they did, they would be able to cure it. But they're not in the business of curing anything. So, at any rate, to get back to the point I was trying to make about the dosages to take and how often to take them, is that the medical industry and a lot of just private individuals will recommend that you only take so much over the course of a day, the course of a week, the course of a month. Just take this much, just take that much, etc., etc., etc. I believe that when you are dealing with a hyperpermeable gut, in the case of Candida, systemic Candida or candidiasis, that what you're talking about is you have 33 feet of intestine that's hyperpermeable, and just taking a little bit of this stuff every day, you're going to be, it's like only sending a handful of soldiers into a battle with the enemy at a time. So say you have an enemy, you have your battlefield, and so you just send in 5 soldiers at a time, 5 soldiers every day to try to beat the enemy. I mean, do you really think that's going to work? No, they're going to get slaughtered every day. So what you got to do is send them all in at once. So that's my approach with this, is you got to take enough of this stuff every day, because Candida is going to be working on your gut. It's going to be working to destroy your body all night long, every night, because that's when it wakes up and that's when it does its insidious thing. So I am just going to load up on the probiotics. And I'll tell you, like I said, these things were not cheap. I bought a lot of them, and it did cost me a lot of money, but as with the colostrum, like I said, the more you buy, the cheaper it gets per ounce. So I was doing all this stuff separately for a long time, years. I would do the MMS, and I'd wait a few minutes, and then I would do the turpentine castor oil, wait another 20 minutes, half an hour or so, and then take some sodium ascorbate to flush everything out. And I gotta tell you, the sodium ascorbate isn't flushing anything out for me now, and I think part of the reason for that is that I've been fasting for about 2 weeks, so there's nothing to flush out except for dead Candida. And honestly, I think because of the fact that I've been fasting for 2 weeks, that the Candida has been starved down to the greatest degree possible. I don't think it would be possible to starve it anymore. So at this point, what I need to do, I don't know how many of these I'm putting in here. A lot. I'm putting a lot of it in here. And it's because the more I put in, the more chance I have to seal up the entire gut, at least to a degree. And then I'll be doing this all day today, and then the first thing tomorrow too. So I'm not giving this a rest. I'm not giving it a chance. I think that's pretty good for right now. So there's what the box looks like. That's just the plain stuff. They also have some flavored stuff, but I've stayed away from that too. In fact, I think you can see right on there it says unflavored. Yeah, so for the time being, because I'm taking this really seriously, I want to get healthy again. I want my health back, and I'm not screwing around about it. So let's blend this up. Okay, I think that's everything I need. That is everything. It looks like a strawberry shake, but believe me, it does not taste like one. Do not add sugar, do not add sweetener of any kind. Not if you want your health back. So there we go. There is the current form of my gut repair drink. Good luck with that, and we'll see you in the next video.